Hello everyone, and welcome to another video from ContentBot. My name is Dylan, I'm the CTO here at ContentBot, as well as one of the lead developers on the project. Today, we're doing an informal showcase of some of the things that my team and I have been working on over the last month or so. In this video, we'll be taking a look at the new documents area. We wanted a big emphasis on the ability to create documents more effectively, as well as being able to organize and find documents you've already been working on in the past. Taking a look at the featured section at the top, you'll see a series of small tools that you can use to create documents more efficiently. Below that, you've got a list of your recent documents, which you can access and edit further if need be. Let's take a look at the featured section at the top. The first tool here is the blank document tool. As the name suggests, this will create a blank document and open it in the editor. From there, you could use our short form or long form tools to either get inspiration or write content using AI. Of course, you'd still have access to all of our commands, as well as the Discover and SEO report tools to improve the overall quality of your content as you see fit. The next tool is our wizard. This is something you should be quite familiar with if you're using our long-form tools currently. This will guide you through various steps, asking you about the type of content you're writing, as well as the things you'd like to focus on. And by the end, you'll have an article written by AI, which you can then further improve on, rewrite, or simply continue to edit as you see fit. Below that, we have the import tool. This is a new tool that was recently introduced and allows you to import certain document types into our editor to continue writing. This is great for collaborating with the rest of your team who may not be using ContentBot at the moment. So here we have support for the docx, ODT, and RTF file formats. These are common file formats for writing content. However, we'd like to expand on those in the future. This is the primary reason the feature is still flagged as beta for the moment. But if you have one of these file formats, or you use a system which can export a file into one of these formats, you should be able to import it into ContentBot and continue editing and working with your team on your projects. Simply choose the file and hit upload. The editor will open and your new file will be available in the editor, and you can continue to use all the ContentBot tools that you've become accustomed to using. You can click on this import tile again to close the importer, and then we can take a look at the two blueprints on the right. In this case, we have two curated blueprints. That means that they've been created by our team and tested rigorously to ensure that they work the way that we'd expect them to. By the time you see this video, these may have changed, as these are simply placeholders for the final set of featured blueprints that we'll be including. So let's go ahead and create a new document using the simple blog post blueprint. So if I click on this, it'll take me to a new page, which will allow me to view the blueprint. At this point, I'm able to have a look at the overall commands that we'll need to run to actually generate a document from scratch. I can clone this blueprint to create my own blueprint and customize it further. I can use it as is, which will simply create a document using this blueprint and allowing me to run these commands, or I can upvote it if I like this blueprint. I won't go too in depth on how these commands run or how to use them just yet, as we'll have a dedicated video for those commands. However, I wanted to show you the process of creating a document using it. So we'll click on Use to create this new document. From here, the editor will load and all those commands are already present in our document. So we'll just rename this document example blueprint document, and I'll just save it for now, and we're not going to run any of these commands at the moment. Instead, the dedicated video going over commands should showcase that in more detail. So now we're back on the documents page, and we're going to take a look at the recent documents. Recent documents hold all the documents that you've created in the past using ContentBot. These are sorted by date and grouped by folder. You see on the left that we have the document name, and then on the right we have the source, or how that document was created. In this case, we just created this document using a blueprint, so we can see a link to that blueprint is present there. However, previously I imported a docx file, and before that I had an automation that created the document for me. These automation runs can be very useful for creating articles regularly about subject matters that you are interested in. These last few rows were just created manually, either using the blank document tool or the wizard tool. The next thing I want to take a look at is some of the tools that are available on a per document basis. So we can see here we have the 3 dot or ellipses buttons. We can just click on that to open up some of the options available to us. The first one is the edit button. Of course, we could click here to edit this document, or we could simply click on the row, and that would open it in the editor as well. The next tool is the download tool. And here we have the ability to download that document as a Microsoft Word file, Open Document file, a rich text format file, PDF, plain text, or even an HTML file to be used on a website. Taking a look at the next option, we can also move these into different folders, which we will showcase momentarily. And finally, we can take a look at the revisions. So let's have a look at one of my import documents, revisions. So if I click on revisions here, it'll load up the revisions area for that specific document. Here I can see the date of the revision as well as the title at the time of the revision. Clicking on this row will actually show me a preview of the content. And of course, with multiple revisions, there would be multiple rows. Next up, let's take a look at the pagination controls at the bottom. So you will see here, there's pagination here, which would allow you to move between pages for the specific folder. Then, as I've mentioned, we can switch folders by clicking on the folder button here and changing over to an alternative folder. This will force the list to reload, and from there we can continue work on a different project. This is quite handy for managing multiple projects from one account. Of course, I could also use the quick folder tool at the top to also change between folders as I see fit. And of course, lastly, we have the delete option down here should you need it. In the past, our documents area has always featured a list layout. If you prefer a grid-based layout, you can click on this button here to switch over to the grid view. From here, you can see a small preview of the document and still have access to all of the controls that I have just mentioned, whether you want to delete, open revisions, move to a different folder, or anything like that. Switching back to the list view, which for demonstration purposes, we're going to move our latest document to the other folder. So we can just click on there and then move it into a different folder altogether. As you can see, we've now moved that file over, and if we navigate over to the code cabin folder here, we can obviously view both of our documents in that folder as well. And that concludes our demonstration of the document system. Hope you've enjoyed this video. If you do have any questions about the new features, please do feel free to ask.